Hey now, happy holidays. We are getting over, and I am the Silver King, Adam Silverstein, here to lead you through these hard times. With the latest WWE edition of your favorite professional wrestling podcast. That's right, Getting Over is back, just removed from Hanukkah with Christmas and Kwanzaa in the near term, and we are here to break down everything that happened over the last week in WWE. A couple taped episodes, SmackDown and Raw, with those shows heading in very different directions. Vintage Chris Vanini will be along momentarily, but off the top, the Silver King does need to remind you that the Getting Over Wrestling podcast, especially during the holiday season,
is all about Defy.
So please, folks, have some spirit.
Stop being marks for yourselves and go back to being a mark for me.
Go back to being marks for the Silver King. For Vintage, head over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a 5-star rating on Apple. Take a little extra time. Leave a 5-star written review. If you do, we will read it live right here on the show. And the Silver King has not one but two new 5-star reviews. Well, technically one of them is new. One of them is old. Nevertheless, we're reading both of them to you. The new one comes out of Canada from S. Doug Brown. Says 5 stars, fun weekly follow. Love listening to Getting Over as a recap to the week in wrestling. I started watching recently again after a years-long hiatus, and it's fun to hear the match analysis and the extra thoughts on what's happening in the world of sports entertainment. The recent Jeff Jarrett rant really brought the heat and made me want to drop this review. Look forward to hearing some obligatory Canadian content Letterkenny drops going forward here on the show. So Vintage, let me welcome you in on that note. I've been discussing this occasionally on our Buy Me a Coffee, on our Thursday show. I think I mentioned it last week. I have gotten into this sitcom, Letterkenny, out of Canada. It airs on Disney Plus and Hulu. Never knew it existed before randomly coming across it recently. Started watching it. Are you aware of this show? Have you seen it?
I am Canadian myself. I am aware of the show.
Okay.
I have not. I've seen clips. I've not regularly watched it, though, no.
Okay, so this show, it's incredible, number one. Number two, I'm very obviously opinionated on everything, but particularly, you know, TV shows and movies, you and I both share that love for TV and cinema. And when it comes to sitcoms, I have a definitive list of like my favorite sitcoms, and no, Friends is not on there. Big Bang Theory, shit like that isn't on there. It's pretty much Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Office, Parks and Recreation, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Those are like in my top 5. And there's a couple other sitcoms that are amazing. Cheers is great, and many others in the past. But those are probably my 5 favorite. This, I don't know which one it's going to knock out. It's already in my top 5 favorite shows. And one of the things that's amazing about Letterkenny is they love professional wrestling. They also love Howard Stern, so they make Stern references and wrestling references. And this is an open to one of the episodes. I want to say it's season 7, but this is a 2-minute open to an episode of Letterkenny. And if you enjoy this, then I highly suggest you watch the rest of the show.
You ever wonders why we taps twice?
Totally, yeah.
I always thought we should tap 3 times like in wrestling. That's how they finish the match.
Oh, I prefer throwing hands to wrestling.
You don't like sports entertainment, Wayne?
I got a wee bit of time for sports entertainment. Mike the Miz.
Me, your favorite?
Oh, if you name your favorite wrestler, I will assume you want to fuck them.
Alexa Bliss.
There you go.
Well, actually, brother. It's well documented that I'm a Hulkster fan. Brother. Who's your favorite, Dan? I'm listening.
Trish Stratus.
For what reason? Because she's Canadian?
I can think of a couple big old reasons.
Like what?
Well, her athleticisms and integrities.
You know what? I'm not going to say he's my favorite for reasons aforementioned, but it's Bret the Hitman Hart. Whole fucking Hart Foundation really good Canadian boys.
I once put my little cousin in a sharpshooter for calling Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret the Hitman Fart.
I always had dreams of becoming a professional as wrestlers, but I could never come up with a good ring names.
Dan Bigelow.
Macho Dan.
Could call you Farty Janetti.
And then we could be a tag team like the Rockers.
Oh, that's kind of fun. Okay, so if you're going to be Farty Janetti, who's Derry?
Shawn Michaels. Puts a little mustard on that fucking high kick.
Actually, it's called the Sweet Chin Music.
I know what it's called, Derry.
More like Jan Michaels.
Well, that was Stone Cold, Wayne.
That was a wee bit Randy Savage, Wayne's.
I'm not sure I like your attitude era.
I wonder what this conversation is starting to make me wince McMahon.
Who died and made you Mr. Perfect?
Yeah, you're walking around here like the big boss man sometimes.
I'm going to come right out and say it. He was being a bit recruit.
I can't speak for all of mankind, but I wish we could get a little bit more dude loves in here.
Well, I can head down to the bar, play some Jimmy Snooker.
Not become $1 million man's playing billiards.
But this is really starting to sound like a whole lot of British bullshit to me.
Getting a little rowdy Roddy Piper over there.
Getting a little rowdy Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, you ought to Coco beware how you talk peep sometimes.
You wanna know what? You should might come at this from a different Kurt angle. Acting a bit Mean Gene, putting on a big show. I can't Paul Bearer much more of this conversation, so I'll offer you as a Jeff Hardy handshake. Be on my fucking way. Like, you know they're your good pals and everything, but they're also, well, at the best of times, a Randy Orton of Andre the Giant nutsacks.
So that's just a clip. I mean, there's many funnier jokes, obviously, but that is the style of show, and that's them talking about wrestling. Chris, did I convince you to watch an episode? Yes or no?
Well, they do sound like some good Canadian boys there. I will say shows like that have nonstop back and forth dialogue with no like pauses in between irk me. I generally don't like show. My wife watches a show or two where they do that, and I'm like, this is too much.
Well, that's very much like a Gilmore Girls style, which I can't stand that show. I mean,
my wife loves Gilmore Girls.
Oh,
It's that exact type of thing where it's like everybody's just booming off each other. It's like it's too unrealistic for me. It's too like frenetic.
Sure.
So I don't know if I'll watch the show, but that was a funny intro.
Fair enough. I mean, that is the show. And if you don't like that, then you're not going to be able to watch the entire show. What I will say is that's not every episode all the time. Like there's regular dialogue and things that happen. But that is the intros of pretty much every episode. And then they go on extended rants like that during the show where you're right. It's wow, it's all really clever. No one really can talk like that unless they're all really geniuses. And if so, why are they choring and working on a farm? They should be in Mensa or something like that if they're able to come up with that stuff that quickly. But regardless, loved the show, loved the review. So we appreciate that. We acknowledge you.
Acknowledge.
Big acknowledgement right there.
Acknowledge.
And it gave me a chance to play a very funny clip that I randomly came across that popped me huge. I'm 7 seasons into a show, and all of a sudden they dropped that as an opener. I'm like, wow, this is definitely the show for me. So shout out to Letterkenny as well. We also got, I need to tell you guys this. When you leave us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and you don't live in the United States, we can't see them. Now I can go find them if I know the country that you're from. So if you live in Canada or United Kingdom or Australia, you leave us a 5-star review and we've never read it on the show, just message us. Hey, Silver King, I left you a review. I live in Australia. Check it out. And I'll go to the Australian iTunes store, find it, and then read it. On that note, if you live in Canada and you have not left us a 5-star review, please do. We're like 4.8, 4.9 rated pretty much in every country, but there's only like 17 reviews in Canada for some reason, even though they're like the second most populous country in terms of listenership that we have. And that's way fewer reviews than the number of listeners we have from there. But we're a 4.5 over there. I don't like that at all.
No, don't like that.
So if you live in Canada, hit some 5 stars. Ideally write something, but if not, even just hit the button and we would greatly appreciate it. But as I was going through our Canadian reviews, I noticed one from July. This person never told me about. It's an incredible review, so we're going to read it here and shout him out as well. Tom Holmes 8 wrote in 5 stars. Without question, the best wrestling podcast there is. So when I see a headline like that, Silver King's going to read it. There are a million wrestling podcasts. Most are bad. A bunch are good. Very few are very good. Getting Over is in a class of its own. It works if you're a casual, as well as if your homepage is r/squared circle, referring to Reddit. I've tried all the wrestling podcasts there are. This is the only one that I consider to be genuinely valuable. The Silver King and Vintage deliver every single week, and I'll even listen to episodes of the shows I don't watch regularly. Sorry, NXT. Thank you guys for providing something that I actively look forward to every week. Don't ever stop. P.S. CM Punk did the Saudi show because he, not Sami Zayn, is winning the Royal Rumble. So last part first, this was a totally plausible take in July. Obviously, they had to flip the title to Punk because Seth Rollins got injured. I wish I had seen this over the summer because we could have discussed that. I absolutely love that review. It's precisely the concept of this podcast. Whether you're a casual fan or a so-called smark, we aim to provide unbiased, thoughtful, analytical content while having some fun, occasionally making you laugh along the way. That's the point. Tom Holmes, thank you for writing that. We acknowledge you.
Acknowledge.
Big acknowledgement right there.
Acknowledge.
And lastly, real quick, just a reminder, follow us on social media at Getting Overcast on Twitter and Blue Sky. There you'll get episode drops, news, analysis, highlights. You can send in questions and comments for the show. And when you subscribe on YouTube, you can listen to full-length audio episodes, watch full-length video interviews across the board, social media at Getting Overcast. All right, Chris, let's talk some WWE. Of course, SmackDown and Raw this week, both taped, both completely different shows once again. SmackDown was dreadful. It was one of the worst WWE episodes of the year, any brand, though the vast majority of the awful episodes have obviously been SmackDowns. We will get into the details momentarily, but all you really need to know when I tell you it was a terrible show, to contextualize it for you, is that the main event was Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy against Tonga Loa and JC Mateo. That was the main event. Conversely, over on Raw, it was also a tag team match. CM Punk and Rey Mysterio against Bronson Reed and Austin Theory. That is quite a stark difference in star power, interest, quality. Raw was also a taped show, so SmackDown doesn't have that excuse. And while all taped shows have their flaws, comparatively, it was much, much better, especially for a pre-Christmas episode where in the past, WWE has just mailed it in. This was probably one of the better episodes. The women's division got a ton of time. Storylines advanced. There were some quality matches. The show just felt like it had life. SmackDown largely does not.
Yeah, it's kind of the same old there in a ceiling on both shows because they're taped and they were obviously taped. And I have some qualms to pick with both, but the ceiling was low on both and the lack of star power on SmackDown outside of Cody continues to be a problem. There's nothing really big on SmackDown that the show revolves around. And Cody's in sometimes so few segments anyway. So I think that continues to be a problem.
Yeah, you know, if Cody is your biggest star and the rest of your roster is really struggling, then you need to base the show around Cody. Like, Think about how many years SmackDown was based around Roman Reigns. When he was there, you saw him 5 times in one episode. You maybe see Cody twice, 3 times if you are lucky. If Cody's your guy and he is raising the rent and getting the reactions and you're pretty much struggling otherwise, then he needs to not just be the WWE champion, he needs to be the focal point. He should have multiple challengers at once. He should be fending off this heel, working with this other babyface in a tag team, while simultaneously having a main level storyline going with someone like a Drew McIntyre building toward a title match. Like, that is the way you need to book this show if you are otherwise going to struggle. Instead, they give you as little Cody as they possibly can, it feels like sometimes. And they just shove a bunch of other stuff on the show. But heaven forbid, Chris, they feature the women's division in any meaningful way. They give them time for matches. They develop legitimate storylines that have interest. I mean, the women can't even get on the show. So it's like you're doing, I was going to say mid-card. Yeah, mid-card men's division. And then now the tag team division men's is making a little bit of a resurgence. And you're continuing women's tag team division storylines over from Raw, but you're doing them way worse. That's what SmackDown is in the latter half of 2025. All right, let's break it all down. Raw, SmackDown, you know we have the good, the bad, and the ugly coming up, but we kick this show off, as we always do, by sliding into the main event.
This is the main event.
And we do actually have a 3-part main event this week, though, to be fair, none of them are particularly amazing. Nick Aldis backstage said the Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre situation has gotten completely out of hand, and he's angry at both men for their respective roles. Cody later hit the ring for a promo segment, saying it's ridiculous that Drew calls WWE an unsafe working environment when they're all fighting each other. I mean, straight facts, it's wrestling. Aldis interrupted him, explaining that Rhodes exasperated the issue, gave credence to McIntyre's claims by showing up at his house. Now, we obviously covered that segment on our last show, but of course, they mentioned it here and they showed the clip again, which was another reason why SmackDown was so annoying, because they showed a clip that we had already seen. While Cody is champion and QB1, Aldis claims, he messed up. And as long as Drew pays the fine and makes his apology, and I'm glad he noted that, because it seemed like he had gotten away from that during the end of that segment, when McIntyre's like, no, I don't want to do any of those things. I want a stipulation match when I want, and also, by the way, Cody doesn't get to touch me. But okay, he does have to pay the fine. He does have to make the apology. That's positive. He said he indeed will not be able to touch McIntyre until they have the WWE Championship match, or he will be stripped of the title. Rhodes promised to abide by the rules as laid out, but then Cody turned it. He put himself over for changing the industry, winning 2 Royal Rumbles, being the reigning king of the ring, unseating Roman Reigns, defeating John Cena for the WWE title. He suggested, because of all that, he isn't above the law in WWE. He is the law. Cody said being WWE champion means he doesn't work for Aldis. He works for the fans. And Aldis, well, if he's being honest, he works for Rhodes. And I'll tell you what, I was on the negative side about this segment until Cody flipped it. That turned his stance and the entire segment on its head. It actually made me interested in him as a character again. He's showing some legitimate edge for the first time in a long time. It's also the perfect setup for him to drop the title as an overconfident, egotistical babyface champion. So for an in-between segment on a taped show, SmackDown I disliked. I'll be clear once again. I got to give credit where it's due. Cody was pretty compelling. I found myself legitimately wondering what's coming next out of this. And all in all, this may have been a pretty important story point in what they are telling at large with Rhodes and McIntyre. Now, can we trust that that's the case and that Cody just won't beat Drew and move on? Of course, we can't trust it. But coming out of SmackDown on Friday, I almost called it Frackdown. Coming out of SmackDown on Friday, I did legitimately believe, again, that him dropping the title is a possibility. And there might actually be more to this Cody character than just showing a little bit of an edge against John Cena.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing continues to be very convoluted, and it feels like they're often just stalling for time to get to... Do we know the date that they would wrestle? Has that been determined?
We do not. I have assumed that it would be the January 5th Raw because I just don't understand how they can push this off another month to the Royal Rumble. But Drew is saying, my stipulation, the match when I want it, so on and so forth. So maybe they can. Maybe he says, tentpole date. I want it at the Royal Rumble. It's going to be this stipulation. And you're going to have to wait, and you're not going to be able to touch me for 5 more weeks until that happens. I don't know.
That's going to be a problem.
I know.
Because it's already been weeks of them not often in the same spot together, or if they are, it's for a brief attack, and when they've attacked each other several times. And now we're stalling it out with these weeks you can't touch each other. We don't have a date.
That's why it feels... Sorry to interrupt. That's why it feels like it's going to be Raw on January 5th. That would make more sense, but why are you putting it on that show is my question.
How do you feel about them being SmackDown superstars if they do that on Raw?
Well, they're building that Raw into the 1-year anniversary of Raw on Netflix, which is the same idea as what they did last year on the debut, where it didn't matter what brand you were. It was like Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa had a match on that show. I think both were still on SmackDown at the time. So I'm okay with that. I don't mind the brand cross. This is WWE's A show, and this is their equivalent of day one. We were talking about that. Hey, are they going to do a day one episode? This is pretty much what they're doing now. The first Raw of the year, they're putting it in a big venue. I want to say this is at Barclays Center. And they go all out and they do, matches maybe from both bands. Maybe not. Maybe it's just Raw matches and I'm wrong. But this cannot be a SmackDown main event. It cannot happen on any of those shows on Friday night. So that tells me the only 2 dates that are possible are Raw on Netflix, January 5th, or Royal Rumble. That's it.
I'm just I am just kind of out on Cody Drew. It's been so long of so little happening. And maybe if they change the title, okay, then I'm interested. But it just feels like week to week, it's like, can we just do the match again? We've seen these guys wrestle a bunch. The story is kind of weird. They're fighting each other too much, and now there's a fine and there's an apology, and it's it feels a bit convoluted. It was fine ultimately, and your point about Cody at the end did kind of turn it around, but it still feels just out of place. I don't know. It feels like Cody is supposed to be doing something else, and he's doing this, but he's not.
Yeah,
like War Games is over, and John Cena's over, and this is his thing. But I keep forgetting it's his thing.
Yeah, the problem is that the feud already peaked, and now it's on the back end. And usually the back end is when the champion gets the rematch and succeeds, and then that person goes away, right? That's the problem. And again, we have to reiterate here. This feud was supposed to happen in a pretty compact window, and I believe it was scheduled for 2 or 3 matches, and they elongated it and then had to delay it. So they added the match at WrestlePalooza, which was not originally planned. Don't forget, Cody was off doing Street Fighter. He was taping the film. Then they were supposed to have their final match at Survivor Series War Games. And because Seth Rollins got injured, they inserted both of them into the War Games match. So that pushed this off. So here we are now, end of December, a month later, and we're talking about it's going to be at least 2 more weeks, if not 5 more weeks, to get the match that was supposed to happen in November. Instead, and it's just like,
it's just,
and they're going to fight 4 times instead of the scheduled 2 or 3 times, which is why this is it. But again, that's real life sometimes. Like, some of it is WWE's fault, the creative team's fault, definitely. And even if you need to pivot and elongate something, you can still do a better job at it, right? So they deserve some blame, but there's also real life things that happen. People are injured. They had schedule issues. I think Drew took a little bit of time off. Seth Rollins got hurt. So some of it's understandable as well. But as we've said, if you're rematching them again, and I still stand by this, Chris, you have to put the strap on McIntyre. I mean, dude, maybe they strap him up on January 5th and they take it off of him on January 31st or wherever the Royal Rumble is. I know people would be sour at that. I would be one of them. But at least he'd get the title in that situation. But I don't know. You got to do something. He's got to hold that title before this feud is over.
I just don't know what you're going to do. Like, it's already like, and we got several more weeks potentially, or a couple of weeks. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they can really do. I'm not blaming them. I'm just not that interested.
It's also, what does Cody do if he's not WWE champion? Like, I mean, there's plenty of people he can fight, but where does that place the match at WrestleMania? Because now we're talking WrestleMania. We're 4 months away pretty much from that show. And I've long believed, I've said this for, I don't know, 6 months now? Something like that. What I believed was going to happen was that Drew McIntyre would beat Cody for the WWE title. Sami Zayn would win the Royal Rumble. They would fight at WrestleMania. They have a detailed, deep feud. And you can call on all of that and build it up. It's a big-time heel against a baby face, and it would make a lot of sense. Sami would win the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. You have all those little notes, and I always believed that was going to happen. And Cody can do whatever else. I mean, there's plenty of people he can fight. He could fight Gunther in just a non-title match, but it's, Gunther conquering the big-time babyface again. Cody's capable of doing that. Roman Reigns is capable of wrestling matches without titles on the line, especially when it's at WrestleMania. But as we get closer to it, it's like, well, Sami's cooled off significantly, and McIntyre is still not the champion. So, maybe they have Drew win, and then Cody wins it back at Elimination Chamber. That's going to be in Chicago, by the way. Maybe Cody wins it back 1 month before WrestleMania. That's possible. Then he can fight Gunther, or he can fight anyone else. Or maybe it's going to go exactly like I said. Or maybe Drew just never wins it at all, and Cody takes it all the way from SummerSlam to WrestleMania. And that's just the world we're living in. That's the most likely option.
I'm kind of bored with this. And until something notable happens, I can't change on it. I'm not that interested because there's not much they're doing because they can't. So
speaking of something notable, IT Guy 28 Chef Aaron wrote in. He said, based on their interaction, I could see Aldis turning heel on Cody and helping McIntyre win the championship. Cody flat out disrespected Nick's authority as a GM, saying that he works for Cody. The look on Aldis's face looked like he was done siding with Rhodes. So I don't exactly love the idea of a heel general manager, but it would massively freshen up the storyline. It would create an excuse for Cody to lose the title, and it would give SmackDown a major boost of interest. WWE, they would just need to be careful doing it. It should be a situation for me where he doesn't turn heel, but he justifiably, quote unquote, screws over Cody. So he would be more of a tweener than a heel. So I wouldn't want him to actively help McIntyre win, but rather do it passively. Restart a match, send an extra referee out, not let Cody get away with cheating, something like that, where Cody can claim Nick screwed him. Nick's like, dude, I was just doing my job. You were trying to get around the rules, and it cost him the championship. What do you think about that?
I like the listener's idea. SmackDown is just freaking nothing right now, man. You want to really shake it up? Do that. Heel general manager.
Heel GMs have been such a crutch, though, for WWE.
Yeah, but there's nothing going on SmackDown right now. There's nothing. That would really shake it up and be interesting. It would put Cody in different relationships with people. I'm not saying it's the best thing in the world, but I'd be into that. It's something, yeah.
Fair enough. All right, let's move over from SmackDown to Raw. Gunther once again got immense heat hitting the ring in all black with a mic in his hand. It may have been even hotter than last week, if I'm being completely honest. The theme really adds to the aura, by the way, the symphony. It's such a bad guy entrance. When he finally spoke, he said fans should not be mad at him, but the guy who tapped out like a little bitch. And bitch got bleeped because it was a taped episode of Raw. The show is called Raw. It's airing on Netflix at 8 p.m. and later. This was on at like 9:30, the equivalent Eastern. WWE says bitch all the time, and they bleeped the word bitch.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Anyway, CM Punk stormed to the ring in response, got right in the face of Gunther, who again mocked with "you can't see me" hand gesture and all, just like he did with AJ Styles last week. As Gunther exited, Rey Mysterio entered, shook his head. He had a sourpuss on his face. Gunther then came across Styles backstage, and AJ took issue with him not knowing when to shut up. Gunther laughed in his face and walked away. WWE has got to be thrilled with the reactions Gunther is getting right now. He said maybe 5 combined sentences in 2 weeks, and he's the biggest heel in the entire company. This was arguably better than last week. The crowd was hotter. The faces with whom he interacted were much more prominent. That added a gravitas to the enemies that he's creating. You don't feel that when someone's staring down Otis or Akira Tozawa. This did seem to indicate Gunther Styles will be his first feud, which probably means they're dropping the tag team titles as early as next week. Perhaps these are the 3 feuds Gunther will have: Styles, Mysterio, and then Punk at WrestleMania, aiming to win his title back. That would not be ideal. You and I have discussed it should be Cody or Brock Lesnar, but Punk would be acceptable. Anyway, great segment. Thought they nailed it. A little repetitive from last week, sure, but it was actually last week done even better.
I mean, I disagree on that last part.
Okay.
It's a tape show and all that stuff. I know that. I don't love doing the same thing 2 weeks in a row. Yes, the crowd reaction was great. Was it the same crowd?
No.
How did I don't remember?
That was Grand Rapids, Michigan on Raw.
Yeah. Okay. So they did it a little bit differently, but so like, yes, he's getting the reactions you want. Crowd is hot. That's good. I don't love not building off of it 2 weeks in a row. I'm a little worried is all. After the same thing happened with New Day. Like they just kind of didn't go anywhere from there after a couple of weeks of heavy boos. Punk comes out and I'm like, all right, now we're doing something. And they just get in each other's face and that's it. Punk doesn't say anything to him like notable. Like it became a letdown. I'd forgotten about the tag team match and everything like that. I was like, oh, like maybe we're gonna get something here. Oh no, we're actually not getting something here. And so I was like, okay, like it's fine. I don't love going 2 weeks in a row after beating Cena without really doing anything to build upon that, but I'm not out on it or anything. I've just continued to be a little concerned we've done nothing with him in 2 weeks.
I would argue that him being confronted by Punk, Mysterio, and Styles is advancing it compared to last week.
But just they got in each other's face and that's it. No one said anything.
Well, what do you want to happen? They had a match that was scheduled next.
I mean,
you
Cole on commentary. I forget the line he said, but he's like, Gunther beat Cena, and then he had the gall to like brag about it. Like again,
like wrestlers have for decades.
Yeah,
a century. Yeah.
Again, what they did last week was okay, but like he got kicked out of the building for nothing really. And I was like, okay. I need to see. And now we're going to the holidays, so we're going to kind of have some.
Just don't forget. Let me just remind you. So like AJ's a tag team champion. Ray's involved in a million different things, like little things. And Punk is fighting Braun Breaker for the title. Now, could they have done a segment where it became apparent that Gunther was the next feud? Maybe. But this stare-off is what WWE has done a lot to kind of tease this is going to be a WrestleMania match. Or this is going to be a SummerSlam.
They've already fought each other, though.
Yeah, and Punk won the title from him.
Punk took the title off of him.
Yeah, I know.
And when I saw that, I was like, I don't want Gunther Punk again. Gunther should be going for the number 1 belt in the company, which is the WWE Championship that at the moment Cody Rhodes holds. That is what he should be ending WrestleMania with. If you're if he's going to be the guy to retire Goldberg and Cena in 1 year, you have to go there. I don't want them to slow play this too much. And we'll see. But the big Netflix, I'm sure they have something in store on the 5th and all that stuff. Maybe that's when we start moving forward. But like, man, you had a big moment off the Cena thing, and then you just kind of let it sit there for a couple of weeks, and that just frustrates me as a viewer.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Cody is champion going into WrestleMania, Gunther should be his opponent. You and I are in complete agreement on that. I don't know what else you would have wanted him to do the last 2 weeks during the live show immediately coming out of it, where I think we even joked on the instant analysis that he should come out like Roman Reigns when he beat The Undertaker and then, just drop the mic and walk out, say one line, get all the heat that he possibly could. That's what he did last week. This week, could he have done something else? Sure. I don't know what it would have been. Like, I usually am much heavier on my criticism when I have an idea otherwise. In this case, I don't.
I think sometimes we think, like crowd reaction is good, booking makes sense, schedule this and that. And sometimes it just comes down to, I'm watching a pro wrestling show and I want the big stars to do things. And when they don't, I get annoyed.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think that's ultimately a fair thing for,
it is.
Actually, it was a short show. We didn't mention it, by the way, but no commercials on this episode of Raw. I didn't get it because it was taped. Like, it just went straight through, which is interesting.
We do have a promotion to do later in the show, so I was going to mention that then. But you know what? Let's just do it right now. If you all enjoyed the formatting of Raw on Monday night, as Chris Vanini clearly did, this is basically what you get when you use NordVPN, except you get more content. So like the Asuka Rhea Ripley match, for example, it doesn't get cut off. You see every single move. You don't lose 3 to 4 minutes right in the middle of the match. So this is basically the formatting I get every single week for Raw, commercial free. And then for NXT and SmackDown, you get to watch complete matches that happen during breaks, or when there would otherwise be commercials during like natural pauses in content, you just get a loading screen with a countdown timer to tell you when the show is going to be back. It is a much better viewing experience in every way. And you got a taste of it Monday night. The only difference Monday is that because the show was taped, they upload it basically as a VOD. They don't run it live. So it's all truncated in a short period of time. So Monday's show was 90 minutes. And the show was probably only taped over, I'd say, 2 hours and 10 minutes. It was probably one of the shorter Raws that they would have done anyway. But you got to digest it all. I was done with Raw before halftime of Monday Night Football, or at halftime of Monday Night Football. It was awesome for me as someone who has to handle both. So yes, I love watching WWE programming this way. And the point is that you can too, every single week, because the Silver King's all in with NordVPN. You should be as well. It's easy to set up. It's a drastically better viewing experience. You get high quality streams and commercial free shows. All you have to do is sign up at nordvpn.com/gettingover, open the app, quick connect to another country like Canada, United Kingdom. You open Netflix and you watch. That's it. NordVPN also allows you to get around online censorship or surveillance, protect your private data when web browsing, and avoid online threats. Plus, you can use one NordVPN account on 10 different devices. So get the best discount from NordVPN. Go to nordvpn.com/gettingover. Our link will give you 4 extra free months off the 2-year plan. And there's no risk because Nord has a 30-day money-back guarantee. So improve your WWE viewing, save money, browse safer online, get the best discount for the best VPN during the holiday season, mind you, at nordvpn.com/gettingover. We love having Nord as the official singular sponsor of your boys right here at the Getting Over Wrestling podcast. And all of you listening can blame Chris because I was going to do this about 10, 15 minutes later in the show, but you got it early because of him. So no, sign up nordvpn.com/gettingover. Moving on to Raw. Paul Heyman backstage was walking with the Vision when they came across Austin Theory, who told Heyman he was masked because he wanted everyone to feel his impact before they saw his face. Theory added that he's made some bad decisions and gotten comfortable, but once he saw the Vision take what it wanted without hesitation, he wanted to do the same for himself. In fact, he said he wanted to take the opportunity to help the Vision with their match on Monday night. Heyman was interested. He did not make any commitment in that time. This may have been the first time a masked person ever provided specifics as to why he was masked, like why they hid their identity. It's probably not the first time. I just don't recall it happening often or regularly. So that was kind of a nice touch. Solid follow-up to start. It would have been nice if he went a little bit further, really hammered home like a tentpole promo. It set him off on a trajectory, but Theory showed some confidence. This created a level of intrigue for later in the show. Is he going to be in the match? If so, how is that going to go? Is he actually part of them? Is he not? What they are clearly telling us is that Theory's help with the Vision was not planned by Paul Heyman. None of these guys knew. He legitimately did it on its own. And that is far more interesting than Heyman just having like an ace up his sleeve and using it a couple times.
Yeah, I fully accepted the explanation. I was like, you know what? that makes a lot of sense. I can see it. So I'm glad that all wrapped up in a way that made sense. And I was into it. I was interested. So this was intriguing. I like this mask thing. I know, people theorized theory from the beginning, but you and I talked about some potentially other people it could be or whatnot. So it was a fun little surprise, and then a payoff that had good reasoning behind it. And we don't often get that. So yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
So we had Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed later questioning Heyman's interest in potentially accepting help from Theory. Logan Paul was not at the show, which, you know what, fair enough. It's a holiday taping and, he had other shit to do. Heyman pointed out...
He was at, I don't remember when this was all recorded, but he was at the Jake Paul fight too, obviously. So
this was recorded Friday, and that fight was Friday.
It was Friday,
I believe. Yeah. So
because I was at Oklahoma, Alabama that night for all that too.
Jake Paul got knocked the F out by Anthony Joshua, which obviously is not surprising. It should have happened 5 rounds earlier than it did, but I got to say it was satisfying.
So I didn't see any of it, but I saw the Twitter reaction when I was in the press conference after the game, including from you, and everybody seemed to say that
it was brutal.
It was terrible. It was a waste of everybody's time.
It's a joke. This whole, I said this, it's really interesting that we're getting into we've speed run toward the Hunger Games and Celebrity Deathmatch being like real life things. And it's unbelievable to me. This boxing match never should have happened. Jake Paul, hopefully any veil of him being a legitimate boxer was completely ended. I know it's Anthony Joshua. He's a heavyweight. He's been dominant when he's held the championships. I get it. He was out of class. There's no question. But even regardless of that, every single time he's fought a real boxer, he's gotten his ass kicked. And I think, what was it? Tyson Fury's brother or cousin or something kicked his ass too. Yeah. So Tommy Fury, whatever the relationship is, he's not a real boxer. It's all bullshit. If you're paying money, and I'm not hating on all of you, thank you for listening to our show and being fans of us and whatever. If you're paying money to watch this guy fight and attending these matches, you have to explain to me why. Because it's all bullshit.
But you already got it if you had Netflix, right?
Yeah, this was not free, but with subscription for sure. But they were doing pay-per-views previously, though. I mean, $80 pay-per-views for this shit. And people were buying them.
Yeah, I was not.
These guys are getting paid $90 million each to do this. It was it's ridiculous. I just can't stand it. Anyway, so Logan Paul wasn't there. Totally cool. Heyman pointed out how he's never steered the Brawns wrong. And both of them are at their career apexes to this point so far, under his vision. Then he declared that Reed would team with Theory in the main event. And he said if Austin does not follow the vision, they'll just take him out. Easy enough. When Heyman left, Breaker assured Reed that he had his back. And they did something pretty hysterical that I think a lot of people missed. They fist bumped each other. And when they tapped fists, they go, Braun. like that's their line. We're both Braun, So that got me good. Breaker later got a promo package praising himself for drawing out the real CM Punk, saying Punk doesn't truly care that he named his wife in that promo because he's self-centered trash. He said the results will be the same no matter which Punk ends up showing up on January 5th. Even later backstage, Reed tried to lay down the law with Theory as he was stepping up into the big time, getting this huge opportunity. But Theory turned it on him, saying he would start the match and he would set the tone and Reed should follow him. Strong promo from Breaker. Considering it was taped, I thought it could have been refined, a few better lines, a couple additional takes. I don't know why they went with a slightly sloppy one. Showing Breaker truly having Reed's back in the prior segment. I thought that was really important to establish their pairing coming out of the Seth Rollins turn and changing the vision and, doing it under their guidance. And then having Theory stand up for himself to Reed, that was important to show he's really not just along for the ride. He's out to find his own personal success. And that delivered on the opening segment. So all 3 of these bits backstage building to the main event, really solid. It's the through line we want with a longer story on Raw. We want it on SmackDown as well. They usually don't give it to us. And to me, it set up the main event nicely.
Yeah, I agree. I like Braun and Bronson together. I've always liked the two of them working together. Sometimes I wish, like I've said, less Heyman and more of the two of them. I think you can do a lot of interesting things together. Mm-hmm. But now we're throwing Theory into it as well. I don't know. So overall, pretty good.
We had Punk and Mysterio against Reed and Theory as the main event. Theory's ring gear included tactical gray pants with black, inner thighs, very similar to the color and styles of gear Rollins has worn in the past. Authors of Pain and Braun Strowman have worn similar pants as well, to be fair. Mysterio avoided a seated senton from Reed, then caught him with one ringside. Punk got the hot tag, ran through Theory before Reed briefly turned the tables. Theory blind tag to prevent a 619. He had a great clothesline on Ray, only to immediately take a 619 and the pendulum splash for a broken fall. Reed dropped an elbow on Ray ringside before getting clotheslined into the timekeeper's area with Punk. Theory knocked Mysterio off the ropes and capitalized immediately with a surprise stomp to get the squeaky clean 1-2-3 over the Hall of Famer. Breaker tried to attack Punk after the bell, but when Theory provided a distraction, Breaker was able to spear him and take the soul out of his body pretty much. It was an awesome spear at the end of the show, repetitive nonetheless. Theory's new presentation, it hit for me. Perhaps it would have been nice for him to have a bit more of a unique look, something different with his hair, but I have a feeling all of this is purposeful. The faces looked strong for most of the match. Ray worked incredibly for 51 years old. It is insane. Yeah. But Theory got the win that he needed to establish himself as a legitimate threat in this return. And he looked really good bell to bell. He worked a bit different. He was more aggressive than usual. The end of the show with Breaker spearing Punk, again, it was repetitive. That tells me Punk is retaining the title in 2 weeks, which we would have assumed being the case anyway. But seeing Braun Breaker hit a, powerful, impactful spear, I'm not necessarily going to turn that down. I just wish it was somehow done a bit differently. So this was a successful, albeit unspectacular main event. For a taped holiday show, nothing wrong with it. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was the second best match of the night. But again, it just, I'm not going to sit here and sing its praises. It did what it was supposed to do.
You said Theory needed to do something different with his hair. He did. He shaved his head.
Yeah, I don't know. I just mean there's a lot of people who have shaved heads. You know what I mean? I don't know what he would do, but it would be nice if he had some type of distinctive look, and he doesn't really.
I continue to think the beard does not work at all.
The beard really doesn't work for him. Yeah.
It's not thick enough. And as someone who similarly, on one side, on
you
the
guys
left
have very
side of my
similar
face,
beards. You do. Yeah.
On the left side of my face, it's a bit stringier than the right side. So you have to really kind of work it. Mine looks better from the side than the front. His doesn't look good from the side. So it's a little, all right, we're going in on Austin Theory again. As they mentioned during the show, he beat John Cena at WrestleMania. So this is another push. You just beat Rey Mysterio clean in the main event of Raw. Your promo stuff backstage was okay. The reasoning was there, but that's what this feels like right now. Is Austin, are they gonna, some people think Austin Theory, all the potential in the world. He's great, yada, yada. I've never quite seen it. And so we're making another run at this. Step in the right direction. Not amazing, but it was a step forward.
Yeah, so Shane O'Mac at Shane O'Mac 713 wrote, and he agrees with you. He said, Theory always feels like the guy that should be awesome, but it isn't quite there. Something you can't describe isn't there. And I do believe that's generally fair with him. I would call it a vacancy of personality. He looks the part. He works the part. He doesn't sound the part.
You know what it is? It's a smaller, more muscular Damian Priest.
No, I wouldn't say that. It's a much less personable John Cena, is what it is.
I think and we'll talk about Priest in a minute, but every time he looks amazing. I think he can work perfectly fine. And the second he starts talking, you don't believe what he's saying. And that's been a problem with Theory, I think, for a while.
Yeah, that part I agree with. That is a similar issue there, but I would say Theory's potential and ceiling is so much higher than Damian Priest.
Agree.
It's insane. But that is why when he was in his himbo phase in the way in NXT, which you don't know about, that's why it was so successful, because it gave him a personality and it leaned into his flat voice. If you're going to be a himbo and you're not going to have a lot of intonation, that works because that is a dumb character, right? It fits. This guy's only 28 years old, okay? Let's not forget this. He's got plenty of time. This is a huge opportunity he is being given right now. Okay?
He's almost half the age of Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, that is extremely important to know. And yet, everyone feels like, he's not going to make it. He's never going to make it in WWE. I think people forget, what about John Cena when he debuted? What about Randy Orton when he debuted? These guys were not hitting home runs out of the gate. Batista debuted as a deacon for not Bubba Ray, Devon Dudley. Like, he was muscle. He wore I think a chain around his neck. He carried what's the thing that they bring in church with all the money is in? Like the donation box or whatever you want to call it. Like,
yeah,
that's what Batista did when he debuted on the main roster. Don't forget how Braun Strowman started as a silent dude in the background of the Wyatt Six. This guy's 28. He got called up to the main roster sooner than he should have because of the pandemic and because Vince McMahon loved him and all those types of things. But Austin Theory, the real dude, there's a documentary on him from when he was in Evolve. I forget where it's airing right now, but you can find it. This dude, he's a really good guy. Like,
that's what I've heard.
He's from Atlanta. His dream is to be the next John Cena in WWE. He is not a natural heel. Now, he's a good-looking guy, and he can be cocky and arrogant, so therefore he can work as a heel, obviously, and he's done it. But he is a babyface at heart, truly, and he is playing against type in these roles. So I'm not casting any dispersions on Austin Theory long-term. Whether this works, whether it doesn't, this is the type of guy who you give multiple chances to. You wait until you find the thing that works for him. People were saying Carmelo Hayes is dead in the water. It took them 3 weeks to get him some of the biggest pops that anyone is getting on SmackDown. They can make Austin Theory work, even if this current thing that they're doing right now doesn't work. I am not giving up on this guy as someone who's been watching him from late in his Evolve career. I got into him real late, and other people knew about him way before I did. But I saw him develop. I saw him in NXT. I know what he can do. And maybe it's as simple as he just needs to be a good guy. But I will tell you this. Yeah. This was a step in the right direction. I agree about the facial hair. And I believe this was already for one night, Monday night. I believe this is better than anything he had done in the prior 2 years, because everything he had done previously was dog shit. And it wasn't his fault. It was creative.
Probably a bit of both. But overall, yes, step in the right direction. It might be too similar of a character. Like you said, maybe a face run is what does it, but we'll see. It was okay.
Yeah. Now, it does seem obvious, considering Theory's gear, his usage of the stomp, he has to be infiltrating the Vision on Rollins' behalf and doing a splinter faction coming on the other end. Now, whether that involves Montez Ford or not, he was clearly the other guy in the mask a few weeks ago. That remains to be seen. But if this is what they're doing, it's the right storyline. Rollins getting excommunicated from his own faction, that should not mean that he no longer has a vision for the future of WWE. His motivations should be unchanged. He still would want his vision to reign, not that of Heyman and the other guys. It may also allow him to come back before he's fully cleared, work back toward in-ring action, have Theory and whomever else joins them as the ones who are wrestling for a period of time. If that is where WWE is going, I'm into it. What do you think about that, Chris? And did you kind of take the same pointers from what we saw Monday night with the stomp, the way he was dressed, and so on?
I did think that as well. I think that would be interesting. And they've got previous ties, like we said, during COVID, which maybe nobody remembers, but I think it could be a thing. I like that idea.
Now, before we move off Theory entirely and the main event in its totality, even though they're both heels, I just wanted to say one more thing. I would love to see Theory come across Grayson Waller backstage, challenge him to a match, and beat his ass. It would not only give fans closure to the end of their partnership, which we never got, it would also cement that this version of Theory is a different guy. He's out for blood. He is truly going to take what's his, and he didn't forget what Waller did to him. I feel like that's going to be important for us to take his gimmick seriously, for him to put himself in positions like that. So I want to see that happen with Waller. What about you?
Yeah, I don't hate that. I think kind of the idea is where he's going to kind of have to earn his way into the Vision by beating people up potentially.
Could do that too.
I don't know if that fits the Vision kind of vibe though, but maybe. But also yes, it'll be good to get him away from Waller, and I'm going to hold out hope that there's ever a Grayson Waller true singles attempt at all, which is him getting on the mic and cutting a promo and not doing the stupid freaking talk show. Mm-hmm. I still think he has a ton of potential that they've not even attempted to get into, but whatever. I think, now you spend the next couple of weeks maybe with Theory kind of as the focal point. Well, there's some different things you could do.
That's what you do. You do that 1 week. You have him beat Waller definitively. And then you send Waller over to SmackDown, where they actually need people with personality. And that's a perfect way to write him off of Raw. It's an easy split from New Day. New Day can say, yeah, he was pathetic. He brought nothing to us. They've never, he works with them, but they don't fully accept him, he's still the black sheep of their trio, I guess you can say. So that's how I'd write him off. I think that's a good way to do it. And it simultaneously helps Theory. So we will see if WWE pulls that trigger sooner than later or ever, because they never really did end the Theory and Waller feud. With that said, we have plenty of WWE to talk from this week, but I might as well get it in now because we're about to transition to the next segment. Here at the Getting Over Wrestling podcast, you do need to remember,
I happen to love the number 5.
And I hope you do as well. $5 a month, $50 for the entire year. You can become an official Getting Overhead. Just visit buymeacoffee.com/gettingover. Sign up. You'll get bonus audio, the fastest 5 minutes in professional wrestling, instant reactions to every major show, exclusive news analysis posts every week, and you support the continuation of the program. We reached a milestone in subscriber count. We would love to continue adding on to it. buymeacoffee.com/gettingover. All right, Chris, we have plenty left in the world of WWE to cover from Raw and SmackDown, and we're going to grade them all in one of 3 ways coming up in the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Hey, yo. Survey says 1 more for the good guy.
Say hello to the back.
Don't sing it. Bring it.
Kabuki Warriors fought Lash Legend and Nia Jax in a non-title match on SmackDown. Lash and Nia talked shit about how Lash beat Alexa handily. Then they said they were moving on from Bliss and Charlotte Flair to fight the champions so they could hopefully earn a championship match.
To beat the champion, to be able to beat the champion. That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense, Becky. My heavens. Even worse than that was Legend's third main roster entrance. So she had her terrible NXT theme at War Games. Then she wrestled last week to some generic Def Rebel garbage music. This week, they added lyrics. And when I say lyrics, I mean they just gave someone a microphone and had them say words. It opens with literally Lash Legend, as plain sounding as I said it. Then, as the song is going and she's walking to the ring, there's just words being said that are related to her. So she's walking down to the ring. Lash out. Bougie bully. That's the effing entrance theme. They could have had someone rap over the beat, put some lyrics in there, couple key phrases, like elongated, something. Instead, this may legitimately be the laziest and worst theme in WWE history. Shame on them.
That is one big pile of shit.
Come on, Oos. It's a joke, right? It's a joke, Oos. You ribbing me?
I mean, the height of absurdity. Let's get to the match. The Warriors were the babyface side, which was odd, with Asuka's hot tag actually getting cheered, even though they're the antagonists of the biggest faces in the entire company. I'm not sure if it's impressive that fans appreciate their skill so much or that they hate Lash and Nia so much that they decided to cheer for the other ones. Maybe it's both. Who knows? The champions.
Well, it's heel versus heel, and you kind of want to have to cheer for somebody.
But they're cheering for these women that have been terrorizing Rhea and Io.
Yes, but of the two, which one do you think would be more likely to get
the Kabuki Warriors? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they weren't just like on their side though. They were cheering loudly for them. They were all in with them. That's why it was odd to me. Anyway, the champions were setting up for an insane elbow when Legend broke it up. Jax then caught Sane flying in for a weak-ass chokeslam, hitting Annihilator for the win. Bliss and Flair attacked afterwards, but Nia saved Lash from Twisted Bliss. The faces later said they will be in the way of heels getting a title match. No. So let's just put this all together. WWE scheduled a women's tag team title match for next week's Raw, and then had the not number one contenders beat the champions to effectively earn their own title match in the future, after having Asuka and Kairi Sane previously lose singles matches for no reason whatsoever. The champions, after this match, were a combined 0-4 in singles and tag team matches since winning the titles. 0-4. This women's tag team storyline is red hot on Raw. Every time it goes to SmackDown, it dies an ugly death. This creative is nonsensical. The match sucked. At least the Christmas gear that Nia and Lash were wearing rocked. They looked amazing. But I gotta tell you, despite me enjoying the Kabuki Warriors getting cheered and the way Nia and Lash looked, this was bad. It was illogical and it was shitty creative.
So I'm going to give it a bad, but I do like Lash and Nia as a team.
Me too.
The problem is, like you said, the creative and booking part of it is the thing that doesn't quite fit here. And it's like, we put together this team and we're just like shoving them into the story that was already working. And yeah, I mean, are we going to come out of this with we're probably going to go to a 4-way tag?
They're probably going to go They're probably going to do a 5-way. They may do like a TLC match or something with all these.
We got Kabuki's, Rhea and Io, Alexis, Charlotte, Lash and Nia. Who's the 5th?
Bailey and Lyra Valkyria.
I guess.
Definitely. And sorry, it could be 6. It could be Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez also.
That too. I don't even know. Man, that's weird. It does feel like, look, they're doing a lot with the tag team championships, and they have a really good women's tag team division.
They do.
That is
the
good.
best. It's the best it's ever been. No question about that.
We support them on that for sure. But it feels like all they can do within that is kind of everybody's feuding with the champions, sort of. And so you get kind of this weirdness. So like it's a bad in a vacuum, but there are larger. It's in a position to be a bad because they've done a good job building the division.
Right. No, when we grade here for everyone, if anyone's a new listener, we're grading the segment and that decision. Now, if there's other women's tag team stuff that's quality, we're going to give it a good. But for me, this had to be a bad because you beat the champions that had already lost 3 matches in a row coming into this after winning the titles. They were dominating on Raw, Asuka and Kairi. They were running roughshod over people. They were, screwing all the baby faces over. Asuka was pure evil. She was cutting these awesome promos backstage. She hasn't cut a promo in weeks. They haven't done any of the backstage segments in a long time. And now they're just losing every match ever since they've won the championships. They did an incredible job up until them winning the titles. And everything since, not everything, but many things since, have just gone in the other direction. You hate the DQ finishes and the no contest. If there was ever a time to do one, it would have been Bliss and Flair running into this match, causing a no contest or a DQ. Then they can feud with Lash and Nia because Lash just beat Alexa. Shouldn't they want revenge? And then the Kabukis can focus on the tag teams on Raw. Like, that's the way this should have been booked.
Well, that was the weird thing, too. Like, Charlotte and Alexa run out as if they're making a save.
Right. They're all heels. Who are they saving? They weren't. They were just attacking them, which is not a face thing to do. That's why it should have been a no contest.
I was like, why are you running out to attack them? Like, right. It was just, everything about that.
If you make it a no contest or DQ, you're preventing them from earning a number 1 contendership. That at least makes sense as a reason for them to come out. This is SmackDown booking. This is why I got to tell you, you're going to notice a trend in this segment where the goods are Raw. I'm just going to tell you right now. And the bads and uglies are generally SmackDown. And it's just how it's going to be because that's what the shows were. So that's how I felt coming out of this. Let's stick with this overall storyline, though. We had Rhea Ripley against Asuka on Raw. Ripley backstage told Io Sky that she can't protect her against the Warriors if she comes out to the ring. She asked that she stay safe because she's selling a back injury. This basically opened the show, and before the bell, Michael Cole, who subbed in Monday night because it was a tape show on Friday, as we talked about, he correctly told us Asuka has never defeated Ripley in 8 meetings. Obviously, an insane statistic, but also a true one. Rhea was great here, working a faster style than usual, using her legs extremely well with kicks. She actually busted open her own nose, landing on the canvas. I think she had like a nose ring, a septum piercing. I think it just got aggravated, like when her nose hit the canvas and it bloodied a little bit. Asuka countered Prism Trap into an ankle lock and a German suplex. Ripley came back with an electric chair facebuster. She got a razor's edge rolled through. Then Rhea caught a hip attack through the ropes, only to eat a German suplex on the ring apron. Ripley did a cannonball off the apron, only to get tripped up on the ropes by Kairi with an injured Io running down despite not being medically cleared. Sane dropped Sky on her back, and Asuka took advantage of Rhea's concern, rolling her up with a deep grab of the tights for her first ever win in their feud. It was the right result, considering I just explained how the Warriors were winless since taking the titles. A roll-up finish is always frustrating, but this was at least done logically in the context of what they were doing, the way Rhea was distracted, and Asuka didn't just roll her up. She grabbed the tights and really sunk it in there. That said, it was weird that they had one of the number one contenders lose to them after both had already registered singles wins after having non-number one contenders win a match over the champions just days earlier. Ripley and Asuka, they have not had the best chemistry historically, but they had an awesome match back on Raw in September. I think I gave it like 4.5 stars and an A. This followed suit, 4 stars, A-, good.
Yeah, good match. Asuka getting the win, the Kabuki's getting a win makes sense. Rhea losing on television does not happen very often. So that I think ultimately worked. With Rhea in EO, I'm not just saying this, but like they're almost leading into like a romantic type storyline between the two, it feels like. Am I off on that?
I mean, look, the way Ripley cradles EO in her arms and stuff, it's either like she's her daughter or she's her lover. It's just what the visual is telling us.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's what Rhea kind of does with a lot of just relationships she
never
like
to this
Dom,
never to this level. This is a different level.
But like Dom, it started off with like being kind of like dominant over him, but then it kind of became like a romantic, whatever you want, a BDSM type of thing. And now this feels like it's gone from friendship to something more.
It really does feel like, I mean, she's like, EO, I have to protect you. Like, you're so soft and like you can't go out there and get hurt. It would kill me if you did. And then she like, EO put her head in her chest and she cradled her like, I'll protect you. That's not how you, men, that's not how you talk to a friend. That's how you talk to a significant other. It is.
And to be clear, no complaints on that.
No,
front. It's just, it's becoming hard to ignore.
That's the most action I've had all year.
No one is complaining about this, but this is not like, hey mom, are they roommates? Or, it's no, they're more than roommates. That's what's coming across. By the way, this was Rhea's first singles match since October. Obviously she's been working in the tag team division and it was a loss despite that 11 minutes, like got enough time. It was the first person that's beat her in a singles match since Io Sky, who got all those wins over her when they were feuding and, leading into their major matches. So pretty interesting and important that Asuka got this victory nonetheless. Moving away from the women's tag team division, but staying with the women, Becky Lynch made her return to Raw, reiterating everything that she said on Twitter about being the real Intercontinental Champion, Maxine Dupree being illegitimate, and WWE plus its referees conspiring against her. This was her best mockery yet. It was pitch perfect, and she got so much heat. Her top line was, very misleading name, by the way, Grand Rapids. I haven't seen a single rapid. And she also had something about talking about, there's a bunch of big wigs in WWE. I have big wig lawyers. And she goes, I have the biggest wigs. So she's popped me. Every single line in that segment popped me. Out came Maxine admitting that Lynch is the greatest of all time, whereas she's a rookie who beat the GOAT 3 times. Dupree offered a rematch whenever and wherever, saying she will train her ass off and stop at nothing to beat her again. And all she wants is Bex to admit that she got beat. Then she got sarcastic, saying Lynch needs to admit her best years are behind her. That got her ass beat swiftly, but when Bex went back for more, Maxine put her in an ankle lock with a grapevine. And this was hysterical because Lynch was wearing a fur coat that was flopping all around while she was in the ankle lock, and ultimately she tapped out in the ring. While I loved this segment, let me just get something straight. Dupree has been wrestling on the main roster for 2.5 years. She is no rookie. She just wrestles like one. I was checking her cage match just to see what the date was when she actually began. And it turns out she's actually been wrestling NXT house shows this year, like the last couple of months, while she has simultaneously been on television winning the Intercontinental title. So I give her a lot of credit, and I give WWE credit for knowing she needs the work and having her put it in because they wanted to push her. I love seeing that. So congratulations to Maxine for living up to the gimmick
character
in many ways. Of I am training to get better. It's not bullshit. She is actively training and working to get better beyond whatever she's doing with Natalya and in the performance center. She's live in front of crowds working to be better at her craft, and she deserves a lot of credit for that. So that said, this was the best promo of her entire career. It allowed Dupree to shine and come across as a legitimate champion. And in the end, it was probably the best segment that she's been involved in as well. Lynch set her up perfectly time and again. And even though this is something that should have happened, last month and not on a tape show leading into the holidays, it's still good that they're getting around to what this feud should have been the entire time. It's more clear than ever that Becky's time off affected the scheduling, both of the title change and the feud. But Bex was amazing at the start. Maxine played her part perfectly. This also gave me hope that Lynch will indeed be getting strapped back up in early 2026, just considering the tap out here and all the preceding losses. Definite, and I'll say somewhat surprising, easy good, because Becky's almost always good. Maxine is not. And she is the one who gets a good here in addition to Becky. So it's a double good almost.
So on Grand Rapids, there were rapids when it was founded, but they were dams were built in like the 1800s or whatever that kind of made them go away. I say this as the native Michigander. That building too is where I went to my first episode of Raw, which was the one where Mark Henry did the fake retirement with the salmon jacket. I don't know if I've mentioned that on the show before, but that was in Grand Rapids. And ultimately, good segment. Like, it was stop and start, and I think everything about Maxine has been done out of order because of when they wanted to give her the title. But yeah, this was a good segment, good back and forth. It's working, and I have to give them credit for that.
So Becky has been on a run of rants on social media, and you guys know that we've talked about them multiple times. Coming out of Raw, she went wild. So I just want to read a couple of these to you, and I'm going to play a video of her as well. She goes, "My ankle is fine, by the way. Barely felt a thing. I was a bit shaken up mentally, though. I suffer from myrmecophobia, fear of ants. It's a very serious condition, plagues millions of Americans. Adam Pearce knows this, tried to hurt me psychologically. Her claim is that she was not tapping out. There were ants all over the canvas, and she was just trying to kill them so they didn't get to her. She says, my lawyers and I are up late putting together another strong case against Pierce for Antgate. I should probably start a charity to fight myrmecophobia. We need a cure for this horrific affliction. Grand Rapids is actually known for its ant infestation. It's true. The Great Infestation of 1825, horrible stuff. Ant Town, Michigan, didn't sound as family friendly, so they pretended they had rapids. Place is awful, just like Maniac, Maxine, fake Intercontinental Champion." And this is a video that she cut after the show on Raw.
See what I'm talking about. Now, everybody saw exactly what I'm talking about. Moody Maxine goes out there, illegitimate champ that she is, holding my title, which, by the way, there should have been police there to arrest her because she didn't own that. She stole that, and then she's taking pot shots at me, the greatest of all time. Not just me saying it, everybody says it, okay? Sports Illustrated says it, Bleacher Report says it. And then now she's going around claiming that I tapped. I didn't tap. There was an infestation of ants in that ring. Disgusting. I would expect nothing less from Michigan, but you know what? Okay, I'm gonna do this for you, Maxine. I'm gonna let you enjoy your Christmas. I'm gonna let you enjoy your Christmas, so you can maybe ask Santa for a replica belt, so you can hold it, so that you can remember how it felt to hold a title that you didn't even legitimately earn. Okay, and you can have it for New Year's, and you can kiss your title at New Year's because it's the only love you'll ever have. I know you're getting married, but I don't think it's gonna last because you're very moody. I don't think anybody would like to be married to you for a long time. Okay, and then you're gonna kiss the title at New Year's, the only kiss you're gonna get, because I said, like, you're very moody. And then on the 5th in Brooklyn, I'm gonna take that title back, okay? So enjoy it. I hope Santa brings you a replica belt because it's the only belt you'll ever be holding again. And actually, we should have the cops here to arrest you. I'm gonna go find them. Actually, let me call 911.
I mean, Chris, it's uncanny, number one. Number two, she's knocking it out of the effing park. I don't know that she's going to win Gimmick of the Year in our 2025 Getting Over Awards, a.k.a.
the Meaties.
But I got to tell you, this is as strong of a late run as there's ever been, and I would not be surprised if she places, and I would not be surprised if she wins.
This is all on me. I just have not watched most of her videos because I've just kind of been too busy to consume too much wrestling stuff outside of what I'm getting on the show. But like, she is that explanation of the ants. It kind of feels like a Happy Gilmore excuse. Like, why did you throw the rake in the woods? Well, it's made of wood, and I just thought it should be with its family.
Right.
That's what they kind of reminded me of. But that's
well, it's
great.
not. I mean, it's not Happy Gilmore. It's someone who believes everyone is conspiring against them, and
no, I know.
believes anything they're told.
That specific
one. Okay.
I mean, I don't think the president is doing the ant thing. That felt like a Ben Stiller, Adam Sandler type of.
I'll just say this: that she's doing a better job than Saturday Night Live is. I don't know if you watch it weekly, but she does a better job with the mockery aspect and being on brand with the way, if that person was a professional wrestler and in her shoes, she's doing it to a T. And it is, I don't know, it's incredible. Like, what she's doing on TV is awesome. And then what she does on social media to continue that, because that is where that person takes it to, social media, and has for such a long period of time. It's uncanny to me. I don't know, man. Becky's amazing. This is hardly her best work, but she crushed it both on TV and on social media, as I just played. As you heard, they're going to be holding this rematch on January 5th Raw in Brooklyn. Maxine won the title in Madison Square Garden. That to me says they could have her win again and just get a double reaction in New York and really cement her, or they could flip it back and get a ton of heat on Becky. Fingers crossed they flip it back. I said from the beginning, I didn't want Maxine to beat her because it completely lowered the level of the championship, the Intercontinental Championship. It took it down to the low card of Raw instead of the main event of Raw. But I also said at that time, as long as they flipped it back within a month or 2 months, I'd be okay with it. And I've held out that hope. They got to flip it back. It's cool that she beat Ivy Nile. I'm not going to believe her beating Lyra Valkyria or Bayley or really any other woman on this company. She got one win. She's, leveled herself up where she's now a mid to low carder who you believe in a little bit more than you did before. Let Becky win it back and go on a major run and maybe change the title at WrestleMania.
I agree.
All right. We spent a lot of time on that, but let's stay with the women. Stephanie Vaquer backstage told Adam Pearce he didn't need to worry about choosing between Nikki Bella and Raquel Rodriguez as her next contender. She would fight them both. I do like that attitude from Stephanie. I wish they could make her a bit more demonstrative saying that. Like, make it more obvious that she's a badass willing to take on all comers, not just I'll fight both of them, which is kind of the way it came off. Nikki later took over the show with a hot mic, jumping on the announce table, saying she's the most famous person in the building and exactly what a champion looks like. She trashed the Detroit Lions and Michigan Wolverines, which we got to say is deserved the way they've been playing and acting recently.
Well, they're really bad guys now because they cut down the city sports team. That's what you do when you're a bad guy.
Nikki said Stephanie is a big deal in the ring, but Nikki's a big deal everywhere, and the championship should be on a global superstar. I saw folks shading Nikki for this promo on social media last week, even though I did not read any spoilers. I'm not sure what they were smoking or if they were just predisposed to hating her because she's from the Divas era and she doesn't wrestle as well as some other women. I liked this. Outside of the low-hanging cheap heat of going after the local sports teams, she showed an edge for the first time in a long time, and you actually believed what she was saying. On top of that, I mean...
It look good, but she's got me saying, hey now!
My heavens, Nikki is 42 looking like she's 32. It's insane. Considering they limit Vaquer's promos, someone needed to go out and sell this match for next week. I thought Bella did it successfully. I don't get the shade. This was good.
No, yeah, definitely good. The last couple of weeks have been a lot better for Nikki. The Raquel attack and all that stuff. And she's, she had lost and turns heel and it's not really going anywhere, but she's getting the edge back the last couple of weeks. And that's good. So definitely good.
And your thoughts on the other part?
Yeah. And aside from the obvious, her hair looked incredible.
Yeah.
I want to mention that too.
That was a unique, different style for her. It gave her like some presence that she didn't necessarily have before. And it added, I guess, a little bit to the heelness of the character. But I already played one drop. I'll play the other two.
I was up all night.
Bayley fought Roxanne Perez. Lyra Valkyria and Liv Morgan were ringside. Bayley took advantage of Perez talking trash at the bell, immediately hitting Bayley to belly for a false finish. Roxy worked Bayley's knee twice into the ring post. When Raquel came out, tried to get involved, Lyra took her out, and then Liv threw Lyra into the announce table. Back inside, Perez landed the Satomura cartwheel knee, only to take a sunset flip powerbomb into the corner. Morgan then pulled out Bayley's leg, distracted the referee as Perez pulled off the middle turnbuckle pad, then put Bayley right into it. Raquel then screwed up, distracting as Roxy covered without a count. That led to Perez yelling at Rodriguez ringside. Valkyria splashed both of the heels from off the announce table, then smacked Bayley in the face, flipping a switch, leading to an aggressive run of offense, including a running knee and an elbow drop for the 1-2-3. Finn Balor backstage tried to calm down the Judgment Day women. They were angry at each other over the result, with Rodriguez wanting to focus on her title match next week rather than just continuing to bicker with the other women. This was a fun match. It got a little convoluted toward the end, but nevertheless, it was entertaining in the finish. A key win for Bayley coming off the loss to Sol Ruca, an important development for their teamwork between her and Lyra. And more important than anything else, she did not finish the match with the Rose plant.
Thank you.
That move sucks a big one. Go with the elbow drop. It is much better. I'm not liking that Bayley's mental state and character is now solely at Lyra's behest. It was much more interesting when it was natural. It got turned on and off based on her feelings and emotions, but at least it's something and they're still sticking with it. Perez has won enough where taking the L was not a big deal. Some dissension within Judgment Day coming between Roxy and Raquel. That's intriguing. It's always been the men at odds with one another. This time it's the women. This was good.
Yeah, good for Bayley to get a win. I couldn't remember the last time offhand that she had kind of like it felt like, oh, like Bayley, that's good. So that's good to see. The personality thing, I don't know. Like, it's impossible to kind of explain it anymore. They gave us the vignettes and everything. It was going somewhere, and then we just paused it. Like, it felt like everything just paused in November or whatever. And some stuff we're coming back to, some stuff we're not. I don't know. But it was as much that as it was, like you said, dissension within the Judgment Day. So we're back to, will there be a Judgment Day breakup? I don't know. Every time we think they do, they don't. But it's a different kind of one for that reason. And yeah, like Liv being out there for her and stuff was interesting. So yeah, it was good.
I'm not going to do the math, but Bayley in singles matches this year, she actually has like a 50% win-loss record, which is pretty good. And to your point, because you mentioned it, this was her first win since September for singles wins. Since September, she's 2-2 though, so she only lost 2 matches in between, and she beat Roxanne Perez in that match as well. So she's now beat her twice in the fall/winter, I guess is the best way to put it.
By the way, I think it's a credit to Roxanne that she's at a level now where we feel like she can lose and it's fine.
Right, yeah, because she won so many notable matches in the interim.
Like she
beat
not
Nikki
like
Bella.
Championship level, but she's established enough where we're not worried that, oh, they're going to not push Roxanne. We know that they are behind her and she has some notable accomplishments. Like she's established. And I think that's definitely a positive.
Yeah, because you've seen her go toe-to-toe with like Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. She beat Io, by the way, don't forget, back in August, I want to say. She has wins over Lyra Valkyria. Nikki Bella she beat. Like, so they've given her legitimate wins. And this is what we talk about all the time. When you allow someone to win matches, you also allow them to lose matches. No one's worried about Roxanne Perez losing to Bayley because they've seen her win before. If she's always losing, then it's a problem. If she's always winning, then it's a problem. So that is a great point that you made, that she won enough where she's then allowed to lose and doesn't have to get protected in the losses. And WWE needs to do more of that, especially with the men's division. They don't seem to have a problem with the women, but when it comes to the men, heaven forbid someone like Jey Uso just lose a match clean, without any crazy shit happening. LA Knight, they have lose plenty, but Jay and some other ones that they want to protect, they never let them lose, and that's problematic. Now, after we covered the women a good bit, let's move over to the men. Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes fought DIY on SmackDown. Dragunov backstage put over Hayes for getting his back last week. Melo said it's no problem. They agreed to take down the heels. Fraxium reminded they still want some meat left on the bone. It's kind of weak, boys. Like waiting a month and asking permission to get revenge on a couple dudes. And Fraxium, tag team of the year in 2024, irrelevant basically in 2025 after WrestleMania, after the TLC feuds. They've done nothing.
You know what it's after. It's
the
after the Wyatts took. It's after the Wyatts took over the championship belts. The division died.
Yeah, and I'd say they were affected as much as anyone, if not more than anyone, because they were really gaining momentum, and that was unfortunate. Anyway, Dragunov hit a cool turnover slam, only to eat a pump knee that bounced him off the apron, face first into the announce table. Ilya landed Constantine special after the break. Melo got the hot tag for a springboard reverse clothesline, La Mystica, and a tope con hero as Dragunov landed a top rope senton. Hayes ate Project Ciampa coming back as Dragunov got thrown into the ring post. Candice LeRae then tripped Melo while springboarding, but he kicked out of a Ciampa pump knee chaser and an assisted fairy tale ending, which is Ciampa's finisher. He kicked out of his finisher. Fans didn't seem to know that, neither did commentary. Dragunov prevented meat in the middle with Torpedo Moscow. Hayes hit first 48, and Dragunov landed the H-bomb, then tagged in Melo for nothing but net so he could get the win. I don't generally love sudden pairings of mid-carders beating established tag teams, especially former champions and former NXT champions, by the way, although technically all 4 of these guys were NXT champions. But the positioning of these 4 guys, it made it okay. The ascension of Carmelo Hayes continues. Ensuring he got the fall here was smart. And ultimately, we got a fun match out of it that should end this feud. Melo is proof positive of what can happen when you put in actual effort to push someone. He is over like Rover, and it's amazing to see. It's all happened inside of 3 or 4 weeks. I would make him U.S. champion by mid-January. 3.75 stars, B+. This was good.
Yeah, it was good. They let these guys go. It got cheers. Like a lot of these times when you give the people the time, especially on SmackDown, it's usually working. Also, Ciampa white beard, was that new? That looked new.
Well, he stopped dyeing it, yeah.
Okay.
Don't forget he had to shave his face because he got cut. So now the beard's growing back in, so you're noticing it more also.
Oh, I didn't know that's why he shaved it.
Yeah, he like cut open his, I want to say chin or something like that. And in order for stitches and all that, he had to shave his entire face.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I didn't actually know that. So that makes sense. But yeah, I kind of like it. I kind of like white beard. Mm-hmm. He already looks like an older guy. I have no idea how old he actually is, but it was a distinctive look. I kind of liked it. Kind of like when like Lovie Smith went white beard, and Deion Sanders, I think, has been doing it. And a couple of those are black guys, but there's been some white guys doing it too. It's distinctive. I like it. And then, good match. I don't love 2 new guys beating an established tag team, but okay.
Ciampa had a gray beard in NXT when he was doing his, major run. Then he got called up to the main roster and Vince McMahon had him dye it. And then Triple H took over creative. And I think initially said like, hey, you don't have to dye it anymore. But then he did. Like he didn't, and then he did again. And then I think he was letting it go. But ever since he shaved it, he hasn't dyed it at all. And it's a much better look. Grizzled Ciampa is like a different looking dude who you are interested in seeing on your screen. A guy with a dyed beard is just a guy with a dyed beard. It's like, what's different about him? Nothing, visually. Yep. These next 2, no grades, but they are things that happen on TV. The Miz interrupted Aldis backstage saying he wants to get his hands on him, the guy who ruined his moment at Saturday night's main event. Aldis asked if he meant Carmelo, and while Miz was still interested in fighting him, he was clearly alluding to Joe Hendry without saying his name. So that match is going to happen next week. So maybe the Melo stuff isn't completely dropped, right? That should be an easy match for them to put on TV. And it's an easy win to give Melo so he can get over Miz and continue his momentum. It's odd that it hasn't happened yet, but I'm glad they mentioned it here. And Miz Hendry next week, I'm interested.
Also, I'm enjoying the R-Truth Joe Pesci bit. Like I legit laugh at like that. That's one that is pretty funny to me. So like, are we considering this like a Joe Hendry call up? Like the only other times he's been up were like surprise appearances at the Rumble and Mania, but like this is like, all right, like we're planning ahead. Joe Hendry's going to be on the show, booking a match. Like this is kind of the call up moment. And so I'm kind of curious how that goes.
It feels like it might be. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple guys or someone else we're going to talk about momentarily are going to work NXT and the main roster simultaneously. You'll remember Kevin Owens did it for a while. Roxanne Perez did it for a while. I think she did it before she won the championship from Mandy Rose, even the NXT championship. So it's not odd. You kind of designate them to a brand. They work both shows. The main roster audience is getting a taste of them. They go on a key run in NXT. Then they end that run in NXT and then become full main roster superstars. It may be happening with Joe Hendry. I'm almost certain that it's happening with someone else we'll talk about momentarily. The Usos got a promo package saying they respected phenomenally as World Tag Team Champions, but they're the greatest tag team of all time, ready to take the straps back. Nothing too deep, a lot of passion by the Usos, who came across as a complete unit. The champions later promised a classic match, saying they would prove that they're better than the best. Next week's match can go 2 ways. The Usos can win the titles, only to drop them in short order and have Jay freak out, or lose their first opportunity since reforming and then have Jay freak out. So the question is only whether his attitude is going to change later or sooner. Because I don't think they've dropped the character work that they're doing with him. You saw it peek its head back out after the Last Time Is Now tournament. I'd have an issue with such a hotshot tag team title opportunity with most duos, but not the Usos and not the New Day. Those guys can get title matches whenever. They're the 2 greatest tag teams in WWE. And certainly not since Styles and Dragon, they've been handing out title opportunities weekly. They gave the War Raiders a chance. They're not even on television. So again, no grade here, but I enjoyed both of these segments, the Usos promo package and what Styles and Dragon did backstage.
Yep, I agree. And I think I'd be like, if we're going to move to AJ Gunther, like, I'm okay with the Usos kind of taking the tag team belts back again and kind of take the division off and kind of their own thing.
It felt like Styles and Dragon were mostly reestablishing the titles as important with quality matches, the way they should have been treated for a long time. And I never looked at them as a long-term team. In fact, I didn't even want them teaming in the first place, as exciting as it's been. So yeah, take it off of them, put them on the Usos, and put some teams on this show and let there actually be a tag team division. That's what's most important. Javon Evans fought Rayo Americano. Pierce backstage told Evans they would have a sit down after the match. Commentary said before the bell that Javon was in heavy pursuit, entertaining offers from both Raw and SmackDown, which is interesting when one considers the expectations of him in NXT over the next 5 months. Grande distracted the referee as Bravo tripped Javon on the top rope as he was just starting to get bouncy. That led to a Michinoku driver false finish. Red Dot was kind of botched with a close-up of Evans not connecting. Why that was left in a taped episode, I have no idea. Evans ultimately avoided a moonsault and hit the OG cutter to win. He got a great pop, better than many superstars who appear weekly. I'm a little surprised that they're just going with the OG cutter and they're not using... He was doing like a tornado splash from the top rope, double jump. It was a really cool move in NXT, and they just haven't had him use it recently, which is a little odd to me. Cole reiterated after the bell that Javon is a free agent, which really confuses what is happening in NXT. We'll find out. Like I said, it's possible he works 2 brands simultaneously and maybe wins the NXT title over there, drops it, and comes over to the main roster by SummerSlam, something like that. Nice showcase for Evans. They were given a decent amount of time to work. The one weak part is Los Americanos have barely been on main roster TV. So there's been no development with Rayo and Bravo, and Grande's not been getting any real run either. They're all working AAA, and that's great. But if you're going to have them wrestle on main roster television, you have to develop their characters and storyline. As soon as Rayo and Bravo showed up, all 3 of them disappeared. So the match was good, the segment was good, but they really need to get Los Americanos going again.
Yeah, I had no idea who this guy was. I was like, okay. Like, we just haven't seen the Americano storyline was interesting, and then we got multiples, and then they kind of whatever. So if they want to, they're doing stuff in AAA, like, okay, but I had no idea who this guy was. And, Javon Evans gets a win, so it's fine, but I was like, this is weird to be filling up my time right now.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. What's your grade on the segment, though?
Good, because it was a fine match.
Damian Priest opened SmackDown. Yes, I really said those 4 words. He got a nice reaction despite still wearing the Wepa Time shirt, which is stupid. He shouted out John Cena and basically called for thank you Cena chants. Priest bragged about the mixed tag team win, saying that business has been handled and he's looking ahead. Hey, that sounds great.
Thank you.
Instead, Zelina interrupted him.
Off is a direction you can fuck.
She said he can't stand that Aleister Black broke him, and Rhea Ripley fighting his battles doesn't make him a man. Black's music played so he could sneak attack from behind. Priest nevertheless caught him with South of Heaven on the ring apron, but he distracted himself setting up a table. He ate a chair shot and got run into the post. Then Black put him through the table with a Meteora off the apron, and Aleister sold an injured right knee on the landing. Black further brutalized Priest later backstage, running him into road cases, hitting him over the head with that shovel. Will someone please explain to my brain that I just severed the main vein with a chainsaw and I'm in pain? Black also landed Black Mass into the garage door to end it. Credit where it's due for the final spot because that rocked. It was a great visual. The Meteora through the table was cool. The backstage segment, the way Priest sold it with glassy eyes at the end, it made me think, made me pray that they're basically knocking him off TV until the Royal Rumble. But that's where my praise starts and stops because based on Zelina interrupting and Black attacking him, it leads me to believe this feud is continuing. If it doesn't continue until after the Royal Rumble, that would at least give us a palate cleanser. But nevertheless, these guys have been arguing since July and fighting since August. 5 full months on and off, mostly on. It should have ended in October with Last Man Standing, Black winning, strengthening into a duo with his wife. Even after Priest got a win with Ripley, it's still somehow continuing. And for no good reason, too. Priest literally said he was moving on. So unless this was somehow the end of the feud, maybe one of them moves over to Raw, it's as frustrating as it can be. My grade is therefore a rare provisional bad. I believe it's the first one of those I've given out. Because it's SmackDown, I have to take the pessimistic side rather than the optimistic one. I think this is continuing. If it does not continue, then this retroactively gets a good. But for now, it's bad.
Bad. Definite bad. I couldn't believe what I was watching.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay. Look, it's crazy that WWE has been running these guys, briefly mixing in the women, and not trying to like platform them to Cody in a triple threat for the WWE Championship. That would have been interesting because you have these two guys fighting each other. Black had that title match with Cody that I want to say got interrupted by Priest. You keep McIntyre on the back burner. You let those three guys work together. That's what would have happened back in the Attitude Era. Hell, a couple of years ago from Triple H, he would have done a triple threat. Cody would have retained the title. These guys may have continued feuding on the back end. And then Cody would go after Drew. Instead,
it's the same thing over and over and over. It's like missionary position every single night.
At least if they did a triple threat, it would have leveled these guys up to upper mid card, upper card, main event, where you're saying, oh, okay, yeah, these guys are legitimate contenders. They just happen to be fighting each other. Instead, this is what they're doing. WWE Tag Team Championship, Wyatt Six fought MFT, JC Mateo, and Tonga Loa. Uncle Howdy talked shit to Solo Sikoa in a video promo before the match, basically saying this would be the start of his family leaving him and Sikoa eventually surrendering. It was eons better than the in-ring talking segment last week. Solo later said Howdy is talking a lot of shit, but he says nothing. He's putting his family's name in his mouth. That's an issue. And the Fireflies will watch them win the titles because he's got the whole world in his hands. Sikoa knocked his promo out of the park, I thought. This was a way, way better match setup than last week. Legitimately night and day. But if you are expecting me to believe MFT can win, maybe don't put the two jobbers of the group as the challengers, particularly when it's a title match in the main event of a TV show. JC Mateo and Tonga Loa does not scream main event. The fans were so bored during this match. They chanted OTC. Gacy hit consecutive handspring clotheslines late before MFT did a nice job catching him on a tope. The Six landed what I believe to be their finisher, the vertical suplex bomb, but Loomis nevertheless added a splash for a broken fall. Tala Tonga booted Gacy ringside, which led to all the seconds fighting each other. The match got thrown out before any of the four competitors were hit. The referee gets discretion and all. That was kind of ridiculous. The finish was arguably even worse as MFT held Loomis and Gacy for a Tala Tonga flying crossbody. Yes, Tala Tonga got on the top rope and jumped, except if he landed the move, he'd have taken out more of his own guys than the Six. What made it even worse is he did not land the move. He basically fell short of the five people standing in a straight line right in front of him. Then Eric Rowan clotheslined him over the ropes and powerbombed Nikki Cross, who has not wrestled in 15 months or had a singles match in 30 months, over the ropes into him. Sikoa caught Rowan with two Samoan spikes. Then Tama Tonga prevented Howdy from hitting Sister Abigail as a 10-way brawl ended the show. I usually give a level of allowance to fans enjoying a segment mattering most of all, but in this case, I could not abide. This was a terrible match and segment actively made worse by horrendous booking logic. The baseline of the entire story has been the titles. They finally set up a title match and put it in the main event. They use the two worst people in the challenging faction, and they don't even give the match a legitimate finish. Then they just brawl like it's still Survivor Series season. It seems like fans are into the general concept. They loved the chaos of it all. The crowd was cheering. I can't deny that. And fair play, that's important. But the titles being wrapped up in this is pure absurdity, and booking this match to main event a TV show with this finish was borderline insulting. This was bad.
Yeah, bad for the booking. The effort was good. The fans got into the match and all that kind of stuff and into the brawl. And so like that's ultimately what you want. But it's a reminder of why it was so stupid having the tag team belts on them when you're doing faction warfare. People just want to see the factions. I'd like, for some reason in my mind, I was like, oh, wait, this is just 2-on-2. It's not everybody. I thought we were doing the match with everybody. And so like, there's pieces there, but the tag team should not be on them. They should not be on the MFTs either. Put the tag team titles back in the tag team division. It just destroyed the tag team division over the course of 2025. Just continues to blow my mind. So like there were things in here that I liked, but it's the fact that it's the tag team part of it all that I don't.
I like that the fans had a good time. That's all I liked. The rest of it, the match sucked, the finish sucked, the circumstances sucked. Those tag team titles have done absolutely nothing for the Wyatt Six, and they have torpedoed SmackDown. by doing this. It's been horrific, and this was not any better. The only reason I didn't give it an ugly is because the fans loved it so much, and I'm allowing them to kind of carry a little bit of water here. But otherwise, for me personally, if I didn't care about the fans, if this happened in the Thunderdome era, this probably would have gotten an ugly. Speaking of, Jade Cargill backstage gave Michin credit for getting up after being knocked down, but basically said that was only charity because she's going to knock her down again. Michin immediately attacked her with a kendo stick, only for her own partner BFAB and WWE officials to pull her away. Why is BFAB stopping an attack on someone who she hates and should want to hurt? Another week with zip zero for the main event picture in this women's division. Jade's not getting helped by this. Michin and BFAB, they shouldn't even be competing for the United States Championship. This shit is ugly.
Well, that was a disaster. What the hell was that? What was that, huh? This is unacceptable.
Yeah, ugly. I mean, look where the tag team titles are here. Look where the women's championship is here. It's just that, it's just a disaster on almost every level on SmackDown. And this is another example of why. This is your world champion. You crowned her. You gave her the big thing, and this is what you've done with it.
You had her. She didn't end Tiffany Stratton's undefeated streak because Tiffany had lost to Stephanie Vaquera before that. But you had her beat a dominant champion, and you're trying to book her as dominant, and you're having her squabble with the two lowest women on the entire roster. It does not make a shred of sense what they are doing. Speaking of, Julia fought Alba Fire. Stripper Kiana James and her stupid purse. Her gimmick is basically Kelly Kapoor, the business bitch from The Office. She served as a clearinghouse for a Julia interview. Julia said she had no problem taking down Fire to get to Chelsea Green, whose time as champion is quickly running out. The crowd could not have given a shit about this match, and you cannot blame them because they have no reason to care about either of these women. Alba never wins. Julia is never on TV. And since Julia won in 3 minutes with an Arrivederci and the Glorious Buster, neither of them even had an opportunity to show anything. This is a taped episode of SmackDown, and you couldn't let these two extremely talented women wrestle for 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes? How is Julia supposed to be a badass if you're not allowing her to wrestle and show that she's a badass? This woman is a legitimate star with legitimate aura, and this creative team has no idea how to feature her. It is astonishing. It was probably better off being short, considering I'm not sure the crowd would have gotten any hotter if this got more time. But this was a heatless segment involving two heatless wrestlers, and it's 100% the fault of SmackDown Creative. It's pathetic that this went 3 minutes regardless of the circumstances. These two women specifically should be out there wrestling a 15-minute banger match, impressing people with their skill and ability. Kaylee Ray is the longest reigning NXT UK champion. Julia, huge over in Japan, did a great job in NXT from a wrestling standpoint. This women's division and the United States Championship, it is straight up dead on the blue brand. They gave it back to Chelsea Green for no reason whatsoever. And let me be crystal clear about this. Julia and Kiana, it is a completely dead pairing. It is not salvageable at this point. It's over. You have to have Julia turn on Kiana, turn her face if you want, put her on Raw. It doesn't matter. This will not work. You have to stop. Please, for the love of all that is holy. This is ugly.
0.0.
0.0, Mr. Blutarski.
And stop trying to make Julia and Kiana happen. It's not gonna happen.
Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen.
I mean, individually, I think, there's things you can do, but this has never worked together. They don't know who Kiana James is. They don't know who Julia is. We've never really gotten that. The language barrier is tough at times, and it's just a mess. So there's no one's going anywhere here. Ugly.
All right. That wraps up the WWE Holiday Edition of the Getting Over Wrestling podcast. We will be back on Thursday talking NXT and AEW, and that show will actually be an AEW Worlds Collide Ultimate Preview, so make sure you check in on Thursday. And again this weekend for an AEW Worlds Collide Instant Analysis. We have 2 major episodes still coming your way as 2025 moves into 2026. The first is indeed the 2025 year in review. We will take a look at the entire world of professional wrestling, not just month by month or week by week, but day by day at the end of this year or in early 2026. And then, Chris, after the calendar turns, coming up, additional performance enhancing audio for all of your ear holes. The 2025 Getting Over Awards, aka
The meaties.
Nominations will be coming to social media soon. Ballots will follow. All of you will have the opportunity to vote, and we will hand out meaties to the best, brightest, dullest, and worst of 2025 in early January. So follow us on social media at Getting Overcast on Twitter and Blue Sky. You get episode drops, news, analysis, highlights. You can send in questions and comments for the show, and you will be able to vote in the 2025 Getting Over Awards, aka
the meaties.
On YouTube, when you subscribe there, you can listen to full-length audio episodes and watch full-length video interviews across the board at Getting Overcast. Please remember, here at Getting Over,
I happen to love the number 5.
And I hope you do as well. For $5 a month, $50 for the entire year, you can become an official Getting Overhead. Just visit buymeacoffee.com/gettingover. Sign up. You'll get bonus audio, the fastest 5 minutes in professional wrestling, instant reactions to every major show, and exclusive news analysis posts every week. Support us as we continue to support you. Buymeacoffee.com/gettingover. And please don't forget,
it's all about the 5.
So head over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave a 5-star rating on Apple. Take a little extra time. Leave a 5-star written review. If you do, we will read it live right here on the show. Thank you all so much for listening to this edition of the Getting Over Wrestling podcast. Hope you have a happy holidays. We will be back on, Christmas Eve day with our next show, and we will have a 3rd episode this weekend. So make sure you subscribe if you're a first-time listener. For Vintage Chris Manini, this is the Silver King, Adam Silverstein, signing off and leaving you with just 3 final words. Bye for now.